Hi there, welcome to the latest edition of Red Army TV. Look, I'm here in Yaff's Gaff, and I've got two fantastic guests. I've got Caroline Walker, Middlesbrough Supporters Forum.
Yeah.
That's where you're from. Caroline, friend of the show. Good to see you again.
Very good to be here.
And our resident fox in the box, Foxy. Good to see you, mate. We haven't seen you for a while. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Hey, well, look, I'm trying to cram loads in. We've got transfers, we've got Blackburn games, we've got exclusive interviews, but we're going to start off with Boro 1, Blackburn 1, Caroline. The return of Tony Mowbray for the older fans who might remember him. And Stewie Downing, first game back against the Boro. Did they both get a good reception?
I thought they got a great reception. Yeah, Stewie particularly, because all the fans remember him. And I thought he played really well. He looked as though he's on good form, he looked fit, and he fitted into the team really well, and he's doing well. Tony Mowbray, you have to be of a certain age to remember him as the fabulous captain and player he was back in '86 when we nearly lost our club.
That's right.
And he pledged himself to the team and the town. Most people remember him as a manager, which maybe wasn't quite so successful. But yeah, it was great to see them back and great to see them get a good reception.
Brilliant.
Which is only what I expected.
Yeah, and our fans are really good. Foxy, talk about Stewie. I mean, should he have gone the way he went? Bear in mind, I watched him, you know, and I won't beat around the bush. I thought in the first half of that game against Blackburn, I thought he was the best player, other than the yellow card foul he done, I thought he was the best player on the pitch, mate.
Yeah, he looked good. I think sometimes, as we'll all probably agree, that sometimes you need to leave somewhere, don't you? And maybe, I think his love of the game had maybe gone slightly, and maybe if you trace it back slightly back to the Karanka days when he wasn't wanted, and then he's kind of fought his way back in, played him out of position, and was a left back for a while, and then he was always known as a squad guy. And I think maybe I'll be one of them, I'll hold my hands up, that maybe people kind of thought he's not giving us what he should be giving us for the quality of player that we signed from West Ham back in a while ago now, wasn't it? What, 5-6 years ago? So I think maybe the Blackburn move has given him his spirit and his love back. And as we've said, under an ex-Boro guy who knows him.
Yeah, exactly. Giving him his mojo back, hasn't he?
Giving his mojo back. I was pleased for him to come back, but I think even if he'd have had a bad performance, he'd have still got clapped off because he didn't do anything wrong at Boro. He just didn't give us maybe as much as we expected from him.
And I thought Mowbray had done it really well, brought him off just before the end of the game so he could get that applause.
Which he got, which was great, from both sets of fans. Good. Yeah, it was good.
So the lad at the end of the day, you always want to see him.
Exactly, they all want to do well.
Where he goes.
So, look, we've got a tip. Obviously, Blackburn took the lead, Caroline. Was it against the run of play, do you think?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was to a degree. Although they looked a decent team, I'll be fair, they looked a decent team. And until things changed around in the second half, I couldn't actually see us getting back into it. But then once we got that goal and Coulson came on and then Gestead a bit later, I couldn't see us losing it. And we should have won it. I mean, that was a Gordon Banks-esque save for those of a certain age again. I mean, that was just a superb save. Although perhaps Rudy should have scored a bit earlier. So, that was a decent result considering as to where we were. I
mean, Hayden Coulson committed his future to the club, along with a couple more, which we're going to have a chat about a little bit later on, Foxy. First goal for the club. Assombalonga back on as well. Did things brighten up when we made the changes?
Yeah, and I, as Caroline said, I think that the one positive, no matter where we are this season, is that Woody seems to be able to spot something and change it, and then he's brave with it. And I think the crutch of that was the Stoke game, how we just equalised. We've just gone 1-0 down, and he still went with what he wanted to do instead of probably could have changed it another way. But yeah, I think that I think he does change. Woody's substitutions change games, but Coulson himself didn't. It's funny how he's good when he starts. He's good off the bench, and as you mentioned with Britt, you know, it's good that he's back and he's looking around now thinking I've got competition, because I think that'll bring the best out of him. Should have scored, but we said that a lot about him this season, but he'll probably score 2 next week. But Blackburn, as you said, there's this league proves with Wigan going to Leeds again on Saturday and turning them
winning,
over,
I know.
which is great by probably 90% of football love that. But you know, they've just gone to Sheffield Wednesday and put 5 past them the week before, and you know that's no easy place to go. And so I thought it was a tough game, and I think the fact that we pulled it back again is giving the team not only that. When we do go behind, it doesn't matter now.
No, the heads don't go down. They're just more determined than ever.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good quality to have within, especially a young team that's growing.
Absolutely.
And I think
never beaten.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Caroline, because teams under Tony Mowbray are generally organised, and Blackburn
and they were very organised.
And they've got some good players.
Yeah,
and they were hard to break down, and it was. And you're right, Foxy, about the tactical change. Maybe those towards the start of the season where, and we had some fans on here, and the messaged in, and and saying maybe Woodgate was a bit tactically inept. I think he's shown now that he's not tactically inept,
No,
and the
not.
team he's got round him, that management coaching team, whatever you want to call it, it's a good little set.
I must admit that the one thing I missed on Saturday was Leo on the bench. Because sitting in the stand opposite the tunnel, it's fabulous to watch him sometimes. And he was missed on Saturday, he really was. He's his passion that he gets across.
I think, like you said, though, with that, I think you can look at it two ways, Woody, as well, is that even if the things weren't working in the start of the season, you could put that down. Was it maybe personnel? Was it maybe the wrong? Like you say, was him being a bit tactically inept? But if that is the case, what a learning curve he's been on in 6 months. And if he's learnt that much in 6 months, where's he going to be in another 6? You know, is this the start of a really, really, really good manager? You know, did we see essence of that? And it's, again, I'm probably putting my neck on the line here, but look where Gareth Southgate is now. You know, look how we treat him. And he wanted to do the same thing that Woody's doing now. Except we come down at a time when we did, and people were expecting money to be thrown at the club and go back up. So we're at a time with Woody now where, is he going to be that next guy? Is he at the right place at the right time?
I think we could be at the start of something quite exciting at Middlesbrough.
We're over the hump now.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be this season, but I think over the next 2 or 3 seasons, we're going to have a cracking team.
Yeah.
And I think things are going to really take off.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's doing it with academy players
and a local
guy, I think it's fantastic.
Well, there's echoes of '86 there, isn't there?
There is actually,
young players, local players.
And somehow we're all together again.
And it's galvanised the fans as well, hasn't it?
Because there was such a gap between the club and the fans.
And just quickly, because I know we're moving on, as you said there about kind of, you know, the way things change in the last 10 minutes we've come on and the game's changed with the substitution. That's football as a cameo. It can change in a game like that and your season's change. And we said that.
Yeah.
All season we've said that. It can just change. We'll go on a run. No, it won't. We're garbage. But it just takes that one little thing and you're off.
And you've got to have that thing called luck, which I don't think Woody had at the start of his...
But I think he's earned that now. He's made that by perseverance, standing by his players.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, look, it's great. Look, you can hear what we're saying in the old snug here. Have your say. Get in touch on social media. Obviously, we're on Facebook Live. We're also on Teesside TV. So get yourself comments in, and I'll read as many out as I can. Good to see, like I say, Britt Sombalonga back in the fold from injury. We've got a couple more players coming back playing in a game behind closed doors. Shotton and
Friend.
Is it Friend? Ayala's a little bit way off. But Gusted, now look, I've read a lot of post-match stuff. I've seen a lot of blogs. Look, you alluded to it, Caroline. The save from the Blackburn keeper was Gordon Banks-esque. It was absolutely top-notch, to be fair.
With 15, 20 minutes to go, roughing up the defence, bringing in Britt or Patrick Roberts or whoever you've got playing up with him. There's nobody better, and he will win the headers. And also, if you're having to defend, it's a great one to have in the box on the post.
I don't think a central defender wants to see him coming on with the last 15 minutes to go.
No, absolutely not.
And obviously, I know that the last one, I mean, that was a fantastic save by the keeper, like I say. He put a header past the post. Again, Foxy, he hasn't played much football, but how much would he use him in a really tactical way, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Towards ending. It's basically just to say, just go on then.
Just go on there and rough him up, go for it.
And I think that's the key thing, because he's not putting any pressure on a player that has had a bad reputation's maybe the wrong word, but his relationship with the fans since Newport hasn't been the best. And he's kind of empowered him to go out there and show them.
Change it, yeah.
Because we're not fickle, but we see somebody putting that effort in and grafting for us, and you want to give him the rub of the green then. And that's forgotten about.
You're willing him to score.
You're willing him to score. And as you've said, he uses him in the game where he goes, right, let's bring someone who can hold the ball up. And you know, and that in itself is another plan B. But we haven't had plan Bs many, have we, as Boro fans in the last however long?
Well, just before the break, we've got a couple of exclusives tonight on Red Army TV. The first one is the MDSA Young Player of the Year. We sent Dave Roberts out to have a chat with him. Lewis Wing, up at Herworth. This is what Lewis had to say for Red Army TV.
It's always been like that, yeah. To be fair, it's crazy to say, but I find them easier than a 1v1 or a tap-in, so I prefer doing them.
So what are you finding difficult then in this new life as a championship player?
I think that at the start was just the recovery to games and stuff, the big turnovers, but as more time's gone on, it's got easier and easier.
Hey, that was Lewis Wing chatting to our man Dave Roberts up at her with the MDSA Young Player of the Year, and well deserved, I think. We've got another exclusive straight after the break. Join us on Red Army TV, where we'll be chatting to Jonny Howson regarding his contract and maybe a little bit of an exclusive on that contract. We'll be chatting to Foxy, we'll be chatting to Caroline, looking forward to the game down at Brentford, as well as chatting about Boro's fantastic transfer deadline day. Join me after the break on Red Army TV. Hi there, welcome back to Red Army TV. Got Caroline and Foxy in the snug with me, chatting all things Boro. Just before we went to the break there, we had an interview with Lewis Wing, the MDSA Young Player of the Year. We've now got an interview with the MDSA Player of the Year, Jonny Howson, who reveals a little bit about his contract to us. Bit of an exclusive. This is what Jonny had to say.
Who knows? I'm not 100% sure what will happen. You know, my main focus is on the second half of the season, and we'll see what happens from there. As I say, I thoroughly enjoy my time here. You know, I would be happy to stay here longer if that's the case. If not, wish them well, and as I say, we'll see what happens, but we've still got a lot of football to play just yet.
So you heard it here first. Jonny Howson would love to stay at the club. Doesn't want to move anywhere. Happy to stay. Let's get it done. Caroline, I'm going to come to you first. Should we get that deal done ASAP for Jonny Howson?
We should have him signed up now. Definitely.
Definitely.
Mr. Versatile, probably going to be captain for a long time, I would suggest. I can't see George Friend getting back as a regular in the squad the way that the youngsters are playing. Yeah, get him signed up now, because if we don't, somebody will snap him up.
Yeah. And Foxy, I mean, a lot of players, when they are took an interview like that, and we know we've sent a quite experienced, reporter to go and interview him in Dave Roberts, but he sort of played the party line and said all the things what a footballer should play, but then said, look, if you're asking me, I want to stay.
Which he didn't need to, did he?
Didn't need to. It's good, isn't it?
He didn't need to add that, yeah. And I mean, it's awesome because it just shows you what the spirit's like in the club. I mean, I don't know whether you put a lot of that down to how good the Dundas Arcade experience shopping is. Maybe he's thought, I can't leave this.
Well, Mrs. Howson's probably thinking, all those designer shops.
Exactly, you can't leave
How can I leave Middlesbrough?
Just so you're all aware, there are other shopping
Other
outlets
shopping centres
available.
are available.
So, but look, yeah, on a serious note, though, I think that to other players looking at that and looking at him and the management thinking, like you've said yourself, what a versatile player is that. It bodes well, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, we're going to talk about transfers and young players at the minute. I mean, how good is it to have someone like Jonny Howson sat in the dressing room and young players looking up to a player of that stature, gives his all, wears his heart on his sleeve.
And I think he's I think he's a type of player as well. I don't know, but he looks like the type of guy who's not afraid to bollock anybody. Especially with the young players, and you need that. You need that hierarchy within the dressing room, because that allows him maybe. He's obviously got a good relationship with Woody, but you need that. You need those admirals in there. You need those people that can interact with the dressing, with everyone and the management.
You've got to make sure that those young players don't get complacent.
No.
That they don't think, right, I'm in the team, I'm a fixture, I've made it.
Yeah.
If they make a mistake, they need telling them they've made a mistake, and that's the way they'll learn.
Yeah.
They can't get. We don't want any Billy Big Boots.
Yeah, and I think obviously every time Woodgate is sort of interviewed about Jonny Howson, doesn't have a bad word to say about him, doesn't he?
He's an asset, and I mean, Pulis always used to say it about Howson as well, didn't he? How professional he was. He was always top of the running stats. Not that that's the biggest thing, but you know that's obviously a player there that goes about his business in the right way.
Yeah.
You don't get rid of those.
Takes his craft seriously, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Let's have a quickly look on the social media, see what people are chatting. Peter Grassham's been on. Peter, good evening. Stewie, he's on about Stewie and Mogger, what we started the show with. Stewie, like Mogger, was chucked under the bus for in his opinion. How can you say he didn't do it for us? It was all about money.
Because he's I hear where you're coming from, but his stats, and I'm not big on stats, but the guy was brought in to create chances and score goals, and he didn't do it. Yeah. And that's why he ended up at left back.
Dion Dickinson's been in saying, I've got a good feeling about the 2 deadline day signings. Well, we're going to come on to them very shortly. Dion, thanks for watching. Peter Grasson's been back on and said, we as Boro fans were fickle 1 minute, Downland's one of our own. Next minute, the Boo Boys are out calling him a troublemaker. Same for Woodgate. Homegrown lads always got to stick with the homegrown lads. You know what, Peter? I agree with you there to a certain extent. However, you know, it's got to work, hasn't it? You can't have someone hanging around costing money.
You can have rose-tinted glasses with it. Of course, we're not saying that we didn't want him to succeed, but I think that adds a little bit of emphasis to it, that when he is one of your own, you believe so much more that you want him to succeed. And when they don't, you know, it's even hard, but it's worse.
And you know what? I'm one of them people, because I want all our homegrown talent to do well. Whether it's a Gaffer, Woodgate, whether it's, you know, young lads coming through the academy, I want them all to do well. Anyway, going on to young lads, going on to the transfer, I just want to go through some ins and outs with you. Obviously, we've done the transfer deadline day show here at Red Army, and just some outs, just to go through them all. Obviously, the goalkeeper went out on loan, Scott Hemming, a little bit earlier on. Obviously, Darren Randolph went to West Ham. We know the on-off medicals that we went through. Marcus Brown and Mark Bowler both went back to their, previous clubs in Oxford and Blackpool. Went out on loan. Ben Little went out on loan to Scunthorpe. Stephen Walker went out to Crewe on loan. And Paddy Redding went to Stevenage on a permanent deal. Scottish under-21 international. Paddy Redding went out on a permanent deal to Stevenage. Any there, Caroline, which you think shouldn't have gone?
No, to be fair. And I said all the way through the transfer window, if we have to lose anybody to balance the books and get big money, fantastic as he has been for us, I would have pumped for Darren Randolph rather than any of the outfield players. He was fabulous, but when he was injured, Pears came in and he's done exceptionally well.
He's owned it.
He's done really, really well. I'm not so certain about Thomas Mayhas, and it seems as though the club aren't, which is obviously why they brought in the other goalkeeper.
Which
at
I've
the
missed.
beginning of the transfer window.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna. I'll chat about him when we do the things. But same as Foxy, was any there like Stephen Walker going out there and Ben Little? Do they need first team football?
Yeah,
that's it. They need games.
Yeah, I agree with Caroline.
Yeah,
I think Marcus Brown is a really shrewd bit of business, because he could have persisted with him, but it just seems as if, whether he was trying too hard or whether it wasn't clicking right now, that he obviously values him. He's a good player for the future. So go back out to somewhere you know, under a good manager in Carl Robinson.
Get some games.
Get some games, get your confidence back, and come back flying in the summer and nail a position. But that's the one thing with Woody that I like, is that, well, I like other stuff, but that and the fact that he's brought 3 players in and he's gone, you know what? You're not ready yet. You can go back out on loan and I'll work something else out.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Instead of, I think we've had managers in the past,
would have tried to make it work.
I mean, Bowler, it was obvious he wasn't ready. Nowhere near ready for championship level where we were playing.
But he's definitely a player there. There was a lot of clubs wanted him.
Yeah, there's a player there, and if we can get him back.
So players in then, obviously we've done a bit of business right at the start of the window. We brought Patrick Roberts in, who for me looks an absolutely fantastic player.
Fabulous.
And Nemetja from Man City, obviously they're both from Man City parents' clubs, but Nemetja from Man City as well. I'll start off with Roberts. Very Janino-esque, low centre of gravity, moves really well.
Frightening.
Sort of player that fans
he is a
love
fantastic
to watch.
player, isn't he?
Sort of player that fans just love to watch. And you'll forgive him losing the ball now and again, because when, a bit like Traore, when he doesn't and it all clicks, it just is fabulous to watch.
And I think as well, that's a great point, that we're prepared now, because we've had such dire football for the last 4 years under different managers. That I'm prepared for a bit of Cavaliers. If you lose it, at least you're having a go.
Yeah, just do it again. Keep trying.
I don't want to see you pass the ball
the one
40
time
times
it
sideways.
And to be fair, it's what the gaffer offered us, and he said he wanted
He
to
did,
attractive
that's what he
football.
said.
Brave, enjoy it.
And obviously transfer deadline day, which normally doesn't see anything come into the Boro over the last couple of seasons. Harold Makuda, or Makudi, however you want to from Saint Etienne, I think, central defender, on loan till the end of the season.
He was at Aston Villa before. I think he was at Villa a while ago.
And the one we want to talk about is Ravel Morrison, because he's been around the block. You know, big, obviously,
talent.
Sir Alex Ferguson said he was probably the best player ever to come through the Manchester United Academy.
Which is massive.
And there's been massive players come through there. Do we think we can tame the beast, Caroline?
We do. Well, we think that our manager can. Yeah, I really think that if anybody can bring the best out of him, because I just feel as though he'll get him from his own experiences in football and outside of football. I think he'll get him and he'll guide him, and he'll do what he's doing to the Jed Spencers and the Coulsons. He'll have faith and confidence in them. He'll let them play, and he'll love them because they all look as though they're an arm around the shoulder, not a kick up the backside. And he'll do that, and they'll love him, and he'll love them, and they'll play.
And last but not least, obviously, the goalkeeper was Dejan Stevanovic, which has been around the block a bit. He's played in the Europa League. You know, I think he'll expect to come here and maybe try and get the number one shirt.
I'd want him to.
Yeah.
You know, looks a really good keeper. Anyway, look, time's always beats us towards the end. Look, we're nearly run out of time. Obviously, Brentford away on Saturday. Massive, massive game. They're flying Foxy, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a brilliant team, but I think they've been in the making for like the past 4 or 5 seasons. And we were talking off air about it. I remember us hammering them under Karanka in the playoff semi-final, but they still looked half decent.
Give me a prediction.
I'm going to take a leaf out of your book and sit on the fence and go 3-1 Boro.
3-1 Boro. Caroline, please give me your prediction.
I would love to think it's 3-1 Boro. My head was telling me 1-1.
1-1.
If I'm honest, I think 4-0 Brentford, but I mean, I don't want to be now. I genuinely don't.
Do you know what? I think I would be. The way Brentford are playing,
They're unreal.
I'd be delighted with a draw.
I'd be
delighted with a draw.
And on that bombshell, I will probably say Boro 3, Brentford 1, Ravel Morrison will score.
Love it.
McCoody will score for Edda.
And Britt will get one,
Brit.
of course. Britt will get one.
Anyway,
20-yard of Brit.
That's all from Red Army TV. Thanks for the guests coming in.
Cheers,
Join
guys.
us next week. See ya.